welcome to class. It's another Yin Yang class, so we'll build a little bit of heat and then we'll chill out and settle in. And we'll get started seated in a comfortable seat. You have your eyes closed or maybe have a soft gaze in front of you. Do what you need to do to make adjustments. Maybe raise your seat by sitting on a blanket. You can also be kneeling. See if you can shift your torso back just slightly, sitting into both sit bones, relaxing the shoulders. Sitting with a nice tall spine. We'll start today with a brief meditation. Take a moment to be grateful for yourself and your body. Be grateful for the time that you took to create for yourself today. To be grateful for the deep, full breaths that you can be conscious of right here, right now. I like to start my yoga classes with this meditation or starting with a sense of groundedness so you can drop into your body and your mind. And Yin specifically, yoga itself is a practice of embracing solitude. And I was listening to a podcast recently. It was called On Being with Krista Tippett. And she was talking to someone named, he's a Buddhist writer, and his name was Stephen Batchelor. And they were talking about how we have the power to teach ourselves to be alone so that we're not lonely. And what I found incredibly powerful and what yoga brings to this practice is, and what Stephen Batchelor said was that we can learn how to create solitude in which we feel at home and grounded. So finding your solitude and your inner awareness is a great place to start and keep as a reminder as you flow through any yoga practice or time that you set aside for yourself. Keeping your eyes closed, you can start to make some small micro movements, maybe tilting the head side to side, or making circles with the head. And then tucking the chin, rounding the shoulder forward and hugging the navel to the spine, taking a seated cat. And inhale to come forward, collarbones spread apart, shoulders are back, chin tilts up and back, seated cow. Just moving through the seated cat-cow, creating a little bit more space in the back, in the front of the body. Waking up the spine and the nervous system. And on your next inhale, come to a neutral seat. And we're going to go ahead and just shift into our Yang practice. So we're going to come into a tabletop position, and you can unfold your blanket to any thickness that you like. I like to keep it a little bit more padded if we're going to be in tabletop. So bringing your knees to the blanket, hands are underneath your shoulders, and draw your navel to your spine, coming into a neutral spine. You can tuck your toes or untuck your toes, whatever is comfortable for you. And just start to make a little bit more movement with the spine. So you can sway your spine side to side. Do cat-cow. Maybe you start to make circles with the head and the hips at the same time. Just being creative with your movement and the flow of your spine. And if you're making circles in one direction, make circles in the opposite direction. And then on the next inhale, come to a neutral tabletop. Shift your weight towards the left, and you're going to raise your right leg up like a fire hydrant position. And on an inhale, you'll bring your knee back down to hover over the blanket. So exhale to bring your shin up. Inhale down. Keep pressing the ground away from you as you do this. You'll start to build some fire in the glutes. So if you've been sitting all day, this will feel really good. Start waking up the butt. Keep remembering to breathe. And see if you can bring a little bit of ease to the shoulder region, keeping the chin tucked. Everything is in neutral position. Keep raising and lowering the leg for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And set it down. You can stick the tailbone back, drop the belly down, and just wiggle the butt in the back. Let that tension go. And then hug the belly back in, come back to a neutral tabletop. You can even walk your hands like an inch or two to the right, shifting your weight to the right leg this time, and lift the left shin up. So on your exhale, you lift the leg, inhale it to drop down. You might start to feel this in the left glute, or maybe you feel this in the right glute, because your right glute is also stabilizing you in this position as you lift and lower the leg for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then lower the left knee down. You can stick your hips back and wiggle your tail, or maybe you take a couple of cat-cows. And then coming back to a neutral spine, we'll do one more rigorous warm up we'll try to activate the hamstrings a little bit more. So sticking your heel straight up and back, see if you can create a 90-degree angle with that knee, and just start to pulse the heel up towards the ceiling. Keeping the navel in towards the spine, the chin slightly tucked, keeping the back of the neck long. We'll do this for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Set the right knee down, wiggle it out, and then shift to the right, stabilize, and lift the left heel up and start to pulse. Stay with your breath. Notice the temperature of your body. Notice if you are connected to your breath. Pulse for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You can bring the left knee back down, toes together, and hips can come back towards your heels. And just rest here for a moment. Sometimes I like to keep moving, so you can rock side to side while you're here, or you can just settle in and allow the forehead to rest on the ground, connecting back to your breath. And then when you're ready, you can look between your hands, tuck the toes, and press back to a downward facing dog. And here, why don't you bring your feet wider than hips distance apart and then bend the knees in towards each other. So reaching the tailbone back, getting a little bit longer in the spine. Keep pressing into the hands. And you can shake your head yes and no, releasing any tension that you're holding in the neck. And then bringing the left foot back to center, right foot back to center. Keep bending the knees, raising the tailbone up and back. Look between the hands and draw your left foot towards your left thumb, coming into a high lunge. So you'll keep your knee raised off the ground, the hips are buoyant, the legs are turned on. Press into the right hand and lift the left hand, fingers pointing up towards the ceiling. And since this is a closed twist, since we're twisting towards our leg, you can always create a little bit more space at the hip and belly if you walk your left leg away from you. So you're walking your thigh away from your belly. Keeping the hips raised, take one more deep breath here. And exhale, the left hand comes down towards the right hand. You're gonna start to walk your hands in between your legs. You're coming into a wide-legged forward fold. Your toes point in the same direction. You can bring your hands to the floor in front of you here. Maybe you walk your hands further away from you and then press your hands into the floor like you're coming into this really wide downward facing dog. Your head can hang heavy, your spine is long. And see if you notice a different stretch in this modified downward dog. And slowly start to walk your hands over towards the right side this time, coming into a high lunge on the right. Maybe you walk your right foot out to the right just slightly, planting your left hand down, opening your right arm up, fingertips to the ceiling. So instead of sinking your hips down, getting a stretch in the front of the left hip, we'll go there shortly. Keep the hips nice and buoyant and be strong in the legs. Broaden the chest, broaden the collarbones, look up towards the right thumb. One more deep inhale, reach the fingertips. And exhale, right hand comes down, walk back towards center, wide-legged, forward fold. This time, you can keep your hands just underneath your face. Maybe your forearms come to the ground. Drop your head. Shake your head, yes and no. Allow the shoulders to drop down towards the ears. And slowly start to press into your hands, lift your gaze, and walk your hands to the left side. So you're gonna come back into that high lunge on the left side, and then drop your knee down this time. We'll come into lizard on the left side. So we're gonna get a nice hip stretch on the left side. So go as deep as your body will allow today. So walking your left foot out towards the left, I'll face you so you can see. So your foot can go away from you. You turn your toes out and then start to sink the hips down low. You can allow your knee to wing out to the side. You can even bring your hand to your knee and press your knee away from you if that feels good. You might start to feel this in the top of the right hip, maybe the right quadricep, or in the left hip, left psoas muscle. You can keep your hands pressing into the ground here, or if you have the space, you can bring your forearms down to the ground. You can take 5 more deep breaths here. See if you can guide your breath to your lower belly and hip, creating a little bit more space in that region of the body. And then when you're ready, starting to press into the hands, walking the left foot back in, tuck the back right toes, coming back into a high lunge. And we're gonna walk through wide-legged forward fold, coming to the other side. So at this time, dropping the left knee down and walking the right leg out to the right. Your right knee can wing away from you. Left hand planted, right hand can come to your right. Allow your hips to be heavy here. You untuck the back toes. Getting a deep stretch in the front of the left hip. And after a little bit of time, if you have the space, you can come down a little more onto forearms. And take 5 deep breaths on this side. Notice if you're holding the breath anywhere. So you can create a little bit more space in any place that you're holding tension by utilizing breath. Slowly pressing into the hands. Slowly coming out of lizard on the right side. And tuck the left toes. And then we'll shift onto our back now. So you can just bring your left leg underneath you and come onto a seat. I'm just going to leave my blanket the way that it is and kind of orient myself so that my low back is on the blanket. You can hug your knees into your belly. And this is where you might want to have your belt or strap or resistance band nearby. And just rock side to side, massaging the low back. Maybe your knees fall into your hands, your knees fall out to the side, and you massage the top of the glutes. And then when you're ready, dropping the left foot down, knees bent, and grabbing onto your belt. You can wrap the belt over the top of the right foot. And then start to press the heel and foot up towards the ceiling. So you'll be hanging on to each side of the strap. Notice if your eyes are wandering around the room. See if you can bring your gaze back internally. So having a soft gaze past the toes or even closing your eyes. Bringing your awareness to the back of your leg. See if you can bring those deep, full breaths that we started with into this posture to create a little bit of ease. So the ease doesn't just have to come at the back of the leg where we're focusing the stretch. The ease can come from the wrists and the fingers, the way that you're holding on to the strap. Notice if you're gripping. Softening the shoulders and the back body into the ground. And allow your body a little bit more space and time to explore this pose and stretch on the right side. And then when you're ready, you can bring the left foot up towards the right and just replace one foot with the other. Bring the right foot down, knees bent. This leg might feel a little different. My left leg's always a little bit tighter. So just modifying maybe your grip on the strap or even where your leg is oriented in space. It might be a little lower, your knee might be bent. Just modify the pose to what feels good for your body right now. And after making any other minor adjustments, see if you can drop back into stillness and really focus the stretch on the left side. See if you can relax the toes, shoulders, relax the face. one of my longer Yin Yoga classes, I talked about the benefits of Yin Yoga and holding the postures for longer. So when you hold the posture for time, you get past the stretch of the superficial muscle, so like your quads and your hamstrings, your larger muscles in the legs, and you can get into stretching the fascia or the connective tissues. Slowly start to bend your left knee in towards your chest. You can remove the strap and place it off to the side. You can bend the left knee or the right knee in as well. Just hug the knees in towards the chest, rocking side to side. You can hug the knees in towards the front of the shoulders, or maybe you clasp onto the outer edges of the feet, coming into happy baby. You can stay here or do any other cooling stretches to wind down. When you're ready, I had you get another blanket at the beginning of practice, or if you have the one underneath you, that works too. You can remove that and just unfold it and place it over your body, keeping the warmth of your muscles as you come into Shavasana. So splay out on your mat, toes and fingers are covered. Take a moment to rest. Let go of the control of your breath. Become really heavy and let gravity take over. Just be at peace with this moment of stillness, this moment of solitude. And slowly start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. With the blanket staying draped over you, you can draw the knees in towards your chest. Roll off to one side. And when you're ready, pressing into your hands, coming back to a seat. Keep the blanket draped over your legs or maybe wrapped around you. Coming back to where we started. Closing the eyes. Noticing the softness and the stillness of the body. We'll take one last collective breath together, exhaling the air out of your mouth. Inhale through your nose. grow a little bit taller. And exhale. And thank yourself for making time for yourself today. And thanks for practicing